All right, so this is a Jupiter 12, 35 millimeter 2.8, I think it is. Um, it's hard to see. It's a unique looking lens. This is a Contax Kiev mount, and the most unique thing about it is the way the rear element kind of bulges out. So I have this on a Photocy. It says Nikon S, so Nikon rangefinder to Fujifilm X mount. Now I realize this is a low quality video, but when I bought this lens, I was trying to find out will it fit on Fujifilm X mount, and there was some debate about it, like will this bulbous rear element hit the sensor, stuff like this. Should you be afraid of it hitting the sensor? So the simple answer is no, it won't hit the sensor. But at least with the copy I have, it also won't focus to infinity. Basically, this one shows close focus, closest focus distance as 0.9. So I assume that's meters, but I'm not actually 100% sure. I'll put it on the camera and find out maybe. But to begin with, I tested this on my broken X Pro 1, which currently has a Pen F lens on it. This is the 40 millimeter 1.4 Olympus Pen lens. So if you are into old and fragile filmier lenses, this is a good video. So if you're into fragile and delicate film era lenses for your Fujifilm mirrorless system, you have found the video you've been looking for. Basically, the reason I made this is just because I wanted to know if the Jupiter 12 fit on a Fujifilm, and I couldn't find a definitive answer when I searched before. So I didn't want to be the guinea pig, but it was inexpensive enough. I decided to just give it a try and find out. I initially bought one of these adapters. I think it came from Ukraine, where the Contax Kiev mount was kind of inserted into a M39 or L39 adapter. That was fine for the internal Contax Kiev mount, like with a 50 millimeter, but the Jupiter 12 is the external bayonet. So I found that one was a little too fragile. Basically, I broke it trying to put it on there. So I bought this one that I didn't know existed from Photocy, which is the external bayonet for Contax Kiev, or Nikon rangefinder as they call it. Now when I mounted this, here I'll focus on it. I'm filming this on my XA7 with the per gear 25mm right now. So when I mounted this one, I couldn't get it to mount, and it turns out there was like a piece of metal stuck in the threads, or like the bayonet of this lens. So like no matter what I did, I couldn't get it to mount. And then finally I kind of took a pair of tweezers and got this piece of metal out, and then it mounted okay. If you're not familiar with this lens, basically like it has a weird aperture adjustment where it's kind of like internal, kind of like adjusting from the filter thread mount here. Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. So let's just do a quick test fit on the X Pro 1, and then you can see my out of focus face a bit more. So here it is, X Pro 1. This thing is falling apart because it's been disassembled before. So like I said, this bulbous element does stick out the back, but it's minimal enough that you can get a standard Fuji rear cap on it. So we'll just line up red dot. So now the thing about this is basically, so the lens will mount to the camera, but it will hit this inner frame. So it won't actually hit the sensor, but it will hit this border around the sensor. So basically at minimum focus distance, it will mount okay, but if as you try to focus it away from minimum distance, you're going to feel resistance. So basically it's useless at anything other than minimum focus distance. Red dot here. So yeah, the first time I did this, I was definitely trying to be extra careful. Wish I wasn't doing this backwards. There we go. So, click, very nice. As you can see, it mounts. But as I said, this is at minimum focus currently. And then basically, I can get about that far before I start to feel resistance. So you probably can't see that because I'm just filming this in photo booth. But it's basically like 1 meter, or is that 1 foot? I don't even know, to 0.9. And that's literally all we can get. Pretty sure it's 0.9 meters because this is like a rangefinder lens, and generally they don't focus closer than like 0.7 meters. But I'll briefly put it on my XA7 that I'm filming this with and see if I can confirm that. Otherwise, it's fine. Basically, in terms of putting it on your Fujifilm camera, it might be fine for like webcam duty here at minimum focus, but other than that, I would tend to avoid it. If anybody knows what this cap says, I genuinely cannot read that. If it's Cyrillic or whatever it is. Yep. Let me just let me give it a try on my webcam here, and then that's about it. Okay, there we go. Yes, yes indeed. Okay, so here we are, minimum focus distance on the Jupiter 12. So that's what we're filming on now. Here's the Gear 25 that I was previously using as my webcam. I like the Gear 25 quite a bit, but it is really bad for flaring. So yeah, overall, if you want, I can quickly switch on the 40mm pen f lens, and then you can see both of these at once. Alright, so here is minimum focus distance on the pen f 40mm. I mean, you can just barely see my mouth in the background. And I realize this is like a mirror image. And then here's the Gear 25. Jeez, there we go. Yep. So that's that. Bulbous rear element. As I said. Yes, sir. Alright, so that's it. Hope that answers somebody else's questions and saves them the trial and error in the future. Thanks for watching. Okay, I could stop the video, but instead we're going to keep recording. Let's switch on the pen lens back to the X Pro 1. It's going to be pretty tight on my face though, but I'll focus it closer. Peace.